Hello, and thanks for tuning in. As always, this is Reverend JR, and I'm going to show you a little bit of my video editing process here. Some people are interested, they want to get some tips on how I do things. I want to learn how you do things as well. This isn't going to be like a normal kind of video that I do, so if you don't feel like sticking around, that's fine. But if you feel like watching how I do this kind of thing, maybe learning, or maybe you can give me some tips, whatever, then stick around and let's have some fun. This is where I keep the stuff I'm going to work on, the folder in my projects folder. This one's just showing you how I edit. As you can see, this is where I'm recording the video right now that OBS is taking. So, what that means is, I can show you occasionally if I need to where things are being stored or whatever. But it's nice to have a folder to keep all of your resources in. Now, if you do big, complicated projects, you'll also typically want to have an audio, a video, a picture, and a render folder in your workflow for the project as well to keep things straight, especially if you're going to do more than one. But for a simple little project like this, I don't really need anything more complicated than a simple folder. So, the other thing we're going to do is, we're going to show you how I would respond to a response video, for example. But yeah, DaVinci Resolve, as you can see, it's a neat little program with several options here. There are different ways to work, but what I generally do is, I'll take and I'll keep my working files here and just drop them in as I use them. You don't have to do it that way. You can actually go to the media section down here. You can add to your media pool, keep everything in order. If you are doing big, complicated projects, this is definitely the best way to start. Again, I'm not shilling for DaVinci. This is free, and I use it. And that's why I rather like it. If you remember, or if you happen to see in the past, I used to use Blender, and it worked pretty well for a while. But this is just a little bit slicker. Like I did for that the dinosaur video, let's pretend I want to respond to it. I'll drop that in from my edits file, you see. So again, I don't want any audio for this, so I get rid of it. And there are shortcuts you can do for that. You can see you can pick your spot in the timeline. Let's see, Control B will break anything. So you can split off little sections there if you want. Let's say he said something right about there that I want to respond to. I can break it up. I can change the clip speed to freeze it. And then you can see as we're going along here, it'll give me that nice static background to work on. Now, I can always take it and resize it, move it around a little bit, and whatever. But let's say I don't want this first part. And I just want a little clip of something right there. And I want to pretend I'm the dinosaur saying something, which means I need some audio equipment here. So I bring up my Audacity. Audacity is a great free program that you can use to edit your audio. So the first thing you do is make sure your output is there so you can hear it. Make sure your input is the correct one you want. I'm using Realtek sound card, so it comes up as the high definition audio driver. And then you can start recording. Hi, my name is Dinosaur, and I want to teach you about Kent's Amusement Park. So as you can see, I've got a little bit of audio captured there. The first thing we want to do, I want my noise coming out there so you don't hear it twice, is listen to the audio. So what you see there is we've got some noise that's kind of throughout the whole thing. We've got all this or whatever. So what you want to do is get your noise reduction profile. You pick some empty area there. You hit the Effect button. There's the Effect tab right up here. And you go to the noise reduction, It brings up a window, step 1, get the noise profile. Then highlight the entire thing. And then you go to the noise reduction again in the effects tab. Then you hit OK, and we'll try to play it again with the noise reduced. Now you'll notice there's a bit of a peak right there. So the next thing we're going to do is a normalization. Again, that's under the effects tab. I normally have it at about 1 decibel. And that should take off that spike. If we go, we know the spike's right about here. And it helps a little bit. So anyway, the next part you want to work through is, let's say you have a very long thing. You can go to your effects. You can truncate the silence with whatever settings you prefer. And then if you feel like it, you can equalize it. Let's use the RIAA curve so you can hear the difference.
Hi, my name is Dinosaur, and I want to teach you about Kent's Amusement Park.
And again, there's a little bit of clipping there, but I just want to demonstrate this for the purpose of the video. So what you'll do then is you'll go to File and Export it, or Control-Shift-E, which will bring you up your little browser thing here. And now if we take a look at the editor, you'll see I've got my first file right in there. So then what I do, is I just drag that from there and right over into DaVinci. You can see up here in the corner, is where all the stuff is. So if you need to borrow it again or whatever. But yeah, let's pretend I want that little section there to be whatever. And if I wanted to, I could put a picture behind this. Like, let's say, we want a nice picture for something old. Just pulled that from wherever. You can, there we go, that looks sufficiently ancient. And then if I wanted, I could put another little graphic over it for a television or something. But, it takes time to figure out what you want to do. Now, naturally, we want to have this right in front a little bit, a little behind. We can add an effect here if we feel like. So then, if we watch it.
Hi, my name is Dinosaur, and I want to teach you about Kent's Amusement Park.
Now, the other thing you can do is, you can see the audio profile right here. You can take it down so the peaks are lower, and then everything will sound about how you want it to sound. Now, let's say I'm watching the video here, and I get to this point, and I want to start writing a script. I can just make sure I've got the clip highlighted, and then you've got your marker. Then you can set your marker to be whatever you want inside your scripting apparatus. And then you say marker 1 is where you want to insert your text or video or whatever. Again, I don't do scripting much. But then you can break this later. This gives you the opportunity to adjust the entire video, put it wherever you want it on the screen. You can do all sorts of fun things wherever you want it to be. And then afterwards, you can start splitting it up like this. And then you know exactly where you want your segment to go. But again, I'm not doing that for this particular thing. But then you could do all of your scripting right away. You could say your next point you want to be here. And again, you want to have that probably on the clip. There are reasons you wouldn't necessarily. So anyway, now that we've got that, let's say I want this little section right here. And let's say I want some kind of dissolve right there as well. Oh, come on. So we pop in the dissolve, and we pretend we want that. Now, the other thing we can do is we've got the color tab here. And let's pretend, for example, that I want to drop something onto a background. This takes a little bit of time sometimes. But let's pretend I'm here on Kent's video. Generally what I'll do is add a node, that way there's the extra one there. You have to have another alpha output. You drag this to there, then you can start having fun. You see it got rid of the thing on the back. There we go, that should do what I want. Then I can say I just want it to apply the effect to the specific part of the window, as you can see. That's part of the tool right here. I don't know, it's called the window tool. I think it's called a power window or something, but let's say I just want this part here to be the part that's affected by the stuff I'm going to input. And again, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. Then I'll pick the color that I want to replace. So when you pick the color at first, it's going to say, hey, I just want that color to stay. You can invert it, and it'll say, hey, that's the color I want to get rid of. So then, as you can see, there you go. You can take and adjust all of your settings here to make sure everything's consistent, and so on. And sometimes that's a real trick to figure out. You can clean the blacks and clean the whites to make the lines, for example, much more clear or blurry or whatever you think it needs to be. If I clean the black 100, you can see it overshoots and undershoots a little bit. You clean the white this way or that, and you can get it pretty close to what you actually want it to be. And then if you wanted to add a color to that, you could do that, and then you just have the line art that stands around it. You know. And I can take out everything but the black if I really feel like it. You can remove colors from that selection if you feel like it. And away you go. But you can have all sorts of fun with that. I don't need to help you with that. Fairlight I don't use. It has to do with the audio mixing. I'm not sure exactly what it does. Again, I use Audacity and everything else to generally achieve the results I want. And then you have your delivery. So I'm going to put myself an out point here and an in point here. The render is going to be the in and out range. O and I are your hotkeys for out and in, respectively. And then let's say I want to render this. We'll have to pick a location. I'm doing this on the edit. So that will be the projects directory. You've got most of your setups here. The YouTube choices are fine. Usually I just pick the 720 because it's a smaller file. It's easier for YouTube to handle, that kind of thing. You can do larger files if you like. They take longer to render. Let's say we want this to be the test edit video. Add it to the render queue, and then you can start your render. So as you can see, it doesn't take very long. I have a decent graphics card, but there are better ones out there. And then we can go back to the editor. All right, and as you can see, we've got the file there. And if we go ahead and click on it a couple times.
Hi, my name is Dinosaur, and I want to teach you about Kent's Amusement Park.
You can see we get exactly what we wanted. And away we go. So yeah, that's the basic gist of how I do everything. There are little things you can do to make it easier for yourself. There are much more complicated things you can do. You may have seen in a couple of my videos. But that's the general process. When you're looking at DaVinci, for example, here, you can see the layers will stack here. So what this means for the video is, this video, if we, for example, do this, you can see how it's on top of the picture that I stuck underneath of it. And as long as you stack things like this, you'll get them in pretty good. Let's say I want to add some text for your viewing pleasure. I can do so right here. And then I can edit the text up in a way I wish. And so on. You can do a lot of other cool things with it. But that's all we need for today. So if you enjoyed that, click the thumbs up. Be sure to comment down below and let me know what you thought. And as always, this has been Reverend JR signing off. Also, special message for afterward. I've been a little bit busy this week, but I've got a few things lined up here to respond to. I'm actually working on a collab with a few other people on something that's going to be really neat. That's going to come out about the 15th of the month. So be sure to stay tuned for that. Au revoir.